So you guys at Barrack Broking, you've been pretty busy, I understand. Can you just, before we kick off, can you tell me a bit more about what Barrack Broking does and your role there?
I'm Graeme Hay. I'm a director at Barrack Broking. We're a fairly new organisation established to work in general insurance broking in the sort of traditional way. We're a completely independent business in that regard, sourcing insurance and providing risk advisory services to our clients. One area that we've elected to focus on because of some unique expertise that we have in the business is also working with alternative risk transfer. So hence working with cooperative organisations and mutuals to create some different structures that they can protect their membership and source insurance.
I know you guys have got experience with mutuals and discretionary mutuals in particular, which is really quite an exciting growth area for mutuals, given that so many of the traditional insurance markets are sometimes they're even failing completely, but there's challenges around risk protection. So what have you been seeing? What are the kind of queries and questions and advice that clients and new customers are coming to you about? Initially,
the queries were about things like, will I be covered under my travel insurance, or can I even have travel insurance that protects me for if I get ill, or if I have to lose a deposit or something like that. Equally, things like business interruption insurance, if they were forced to close their premises down. I think things quite rapidly evolved from those kind of questions through to people that were really crying out for some practical advice as to what they needed to do in these circumstances. I think difficult for organisations to plan for what to do in a pandemic, and there was a real need to try and get some really practical advice out there for things like, what do you do when your workforce is changing to work remotely? What are the things you need to be conscious of? And equally, if I do have to unfortunately close a premises down, what does that mean? What are the precautions I need to take? Putting insurance to the side. So I think it's been more of a risk advisory kind of role that we're fulfilling now than a traditional insurance role.
And it's risk mitigation, I guess, through having careful advice and being able to plan, because we're all concerned, particularly as employers, that we are doing the right thing by our workforce. Can you help with that?
Yeah, so certainly I think, we can assist as far as, some of those practical steps, and that's often calling on, resources from people like iCare, as the New South Wales version of, or the various state-based versions of the workers' compensation schemes. They're able to provide some really handy checklists for things that you need to know about, as far as creating a safe remote workspace. I think there's been a lot of discussion around mental health concerns for workers that are having to work in a very different way to what they would have ever experienced before, and maybe having that sort of sense of isolation. And so we work with some of our clients actually to connect clients with other resources that where they're within our network. So for instance, we work with a psychology practice that has moved to a telehealth sort of virtual consultation model that is very happy to provide expertise. So we try and share a lot of the work that our clients do that can also support other people within our network.
So a lot of stuff's going to bounce back to the way it was before, but a lot is not going to be business as usual. In terms of the area of your practice, what do you think might be in the new landscape? What will be the new future for businesses? Do you see any opportunities, Graeme?
When I look at it through the sort of risk and insurance lens, I think before anyone had ever heard of COVID-19, we were at a stage in the insurance market where insurers had come under some challenges for particular lines of business. So property insurance was getting more difficult, as you alluded to. In some areas, it's been almost, and in some areas probably has been, impossible to obtain insurance. By and large, as an industry, the insurance industry has been quite sympathetic to a lot of the areas of impact for their insureds, and provided some help in terms of deferrals of payments and, maybe loosening some restrictions around vacant properties, those sorts of issues. I do think once we go back to a more business as normal sort of environment, there's going to be the same issues that we had before COVID-19 are still going to be there. Climate change, weather volatility, there's still going to be challenges that are there. And I think for me, now is a good time for cooperatives and mutual organisations to really have a think about what that future looks like and how best to prepare for that, whether there's opportunities. I think absolutely that cooperative and mutual enterprises are really uniquely positioned to be able to create different risk transfer strategies that are not available to individual organisations. There's a great opportunity to pool resources, create risk initiatives and risk sharing platforms to create continuous improvement for their memberships, and use insurers' capital in a different way. So that may actually allow a more competitive insurance environment.
Well, I hope our members and the wider sector do take that opportunity to leverage the mutuality principle, if you like, mutual benefit, and see these opportunities to network and to come together, because they could give us a competitive advantage.
I think the principle of mutuality works really well, even where insurance isn't the sort of difficult aspect. But creating a way of sharing best practice in terms of risk management activities, I think, is still a very valid reason for memberships coming together to explore these kind of structures.
You've produced some resources that are available. Can you just tell me about those, and where can the members of BCCM find that resource?
Through the LinkedIn page that BCCM has established, we've put a bit of a FAQ kind of document, if you like, some of the current concerns that we alluded to with queries that are coming from clients in relation to insurance, a little bit about what the future holds. If you'd like to talk to me directly, happy to share my details. My mobile number is 0428 722 724, or email is ghay, GHAY, @barrackbroking.com.